On October 30th, 1811, a new novel quietly appeared on London bookshelves, published anonymously with the author's name listed only as A Lady. That novel was Sense and Sensibility, and its unknown author was a 35-year-old Englishwoman named Jane Austen. She couldn't have known it, but this first step into print would make her one of the most beloved writers in the English language. But why did she publish the book anonymously? And why have her novels endured in popularity for more than 200 years? The story began 16 years earlier. At just 19, Jane Austen drafted a novel called Eleanor and Mary Ann. It was written in the form of letters between two sisters, one sensible, one emotional. She rewrote it in 1797 into a more familiar narrative style, and did another rewrite after moving to a cottage in the English village of Chawton in 1809. Austen then risked her own savings to publish the renamed Sense and Sensibility. She also handled publicity and would only earn money if the book sold. It did, and quickly. Within 2 years, every copy sold out, earning her £140, the equivalent of several $1,000s today. It was her first taste of literary success, but few readers knew her name. The title page read simply Sense and Sensibility by A Lady. Austen's choice to remain anonymous was not uncommon for female writers of her day. The decision was a practical one that reflected a desire for privacy and a way to protect herself from prejudice and criticism, which tended to be much harsher for female authors. Austen's family, however, knew of her ambition. Her sister Cassandra edited her drafts, and her brother Henry became her agent. Her father, a clergyman, was her first and fiercest supporter. But to the world, she remained unknown. In a society where women's voices were too often confined to drawing rooms, she created heroines who chose conviction over convenience, characters who, like her, valued love and principle above wealth and rank. In an age of melodrama, Austen's style was revolutionary. Critics and readers praised Sense and Sensibility for its realism, especially in its characters, who were people with believable joys and heartbreaks. She went on to write 5 more novels, each deepening her portrait of human nature and reshaping English literature. Jane Austen died in 1817 at just 41, likely from Addison's disease. Her brother Henry revealed her identity to the world only after her death. 2 centuries later, her novels remain bestsellers, her characters household names, and her influence immeasurable. Countless adaptations of her works have graced both stage and screen. Her works have also influenced other novels, plays, television dramas, and films. Mrs. Lewis's all-time favorite television series is the 1995 BBC miniseries adaptation of Austen's book, Pride and Prejudice. She loves how faithful the series is to the book, with much of the dialogue coming word for word from the text. She has assured me that this is the main reason for her appreciation, definitely not for the smoldering Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy. Speaking of that, one of my kids recently got Mrs. Lewis this shirt as a gift, which fans of Jane Austen will appreciate. In 2025, Mrs. Lewis and I made a trip to England and spent several days in the Cambridge area. While there, we saw a show at the ADC Theatre, the oldest university playhouse in England. Actors like Ian McKellen, Emma Thompson, and members of the Monty Python comedy troupe got their start there. Anyway, the play we saw there was an adaptation of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. The packed house that night further demonstrated how Austen's popularity has continued to grow since her death. From a modest English cottage to worldwide recognition, Jane Austen's pen proved something timeless. Sometimes, the quietest voices leave the loudest echoes. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1735, U.S. founding father John Adams is born on the family farm in Massachusetts. In 1770, the commander of British troops at the Boston Massacre is found not guilty of murder. In 1938, Orson Welles' radio broadcast of the War in the Worlds causes nationwide panic. In 1974, Muhammad Ali knocks out George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire. In 1995, the province of Quebec votes to remain a part of Canada rather than seek independence. In 2001, after 9/11, President Bush throws out the first pitch at the World Series in Yankee Stadium. In 2012, Disney buys Lucasfilm for $4 billion, starting a new era in the Star Wars franchise. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. Halloween's origins trace back to Samhain, an ancient festival from which country? Germany, Ireland, Romania, or Finland? Liked learning about Jane Austen? Then you'll love this one about another great writer, Edgar Allan Poe. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.